The courtroom is in hushed silence. All eyes in the room are on Kody Brown, who sits paralyzed, beads of perspiration building up along his forehead. The judge's gavel comes crashing down, and one sentence shatters the charged air. Kody Brown, you are charged with theft of $12 million from your wives. Gasps rip through the room, and for the first time the man who ever was invincible feels the sting of betrayal on his shoulders. What transpires will astonish even those who've watched the Browns for years. Might a lifetime of lies at last come undone before all eyes? The sun from morning creeps into the high courthouse windows in Utah, sending bright lines across the highly waxed wooden benches. The air is slightly scented with coffee and old books, but what hangs there is not so much tension as almost a chokeable thing. Kody Brown comes in, fidgeting with his tie for the third time, though the world is well aware it won't assuage the tempest raging on outside. His wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, sit at the front row, their faces ashen, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights, spent whispering endearments and sleepless anxiety. Since they walked in, there have been whispers down the corridors. $12 million supposedly drained from the family's shared funds, now looming over Kody, like the shadow of the guillotine. Robyn's fingers shake as she holds a folder full of proof. Christine's mouth is set, her gaze darting around the courtroom with the intensity of a hawk on the hunt. Janelle nuzzles in close to Meri, offering reassuring words, though neither of them are reassured. The judge enters, and silence descends. His robe rustles as he settles in his chair, and all eyes are upon him, waiting. The clerk brings the case to order, and the air in the room becomes thick with expectation. The prosecution starts, presenting a timeline of purported financial manipulations, offshore accounts, secret transactions, properties acquired under pseudonyms. Every accusation falls like a sledgehammer on the family dynasty, and Kody fidgets uncomfortably in his seat, his hands locked so tightly that the knuckles turn white. You won't believe the explosive proof that's about to be uncovered. It will transform all you believed you knew about this family. As the witnesses testify, the tension becomes unbearable. Robyn is first, her voice trembling but firm. I trusted him, she says, looking at Kody. I thought we were creating a future together, but I see now that it was on lies. The courtroom rustles and Kody turns white. He mouths words but none are said. The prosecution rolls out bank statements, emails, and papers, each one leading straight to him. Meri's hands clench in her lap. She's quiet, but her eyes burn with silent fury. Christine, ever the strategist, leans forward, whispering to the attorney beside her. We need to make sure every dollar is accounted for. Every single one. Janelle swallows hard, her heart racing. The accusations feel personal, cutting deep into decades of trust and shared life. The first witness requires Kody to account for inconsistencies in real estate sales and loans. He stands, voice low, attempting to stay calm. These were misunderstandings, he starts, but the gaze of every eye in the room appears to bore into him, hunting truth or admission. The burden of years of deception bears down, and the erstwhile dominant patriarch falters for the first time. By noon, the room is charged. Every new revelation seems to add another brick to a wall of deceit, and the Brown family sees the life they believed safe start to disintegrate. Nobody is willing to blink lest they miss the instant when trust finally breaks. Stay with us, because what follows will make you question every aspect of loyalty, family, and the cost of secrets. The scene ends with Kody looking at each of his wives, whose faces are a combination of hurt, anger, and determination. The camera would hold on his look, a combination of fear, shame, and incredulity. The gavel falls again in the background as the judge gets ready to call the next hearing. Out in the hallway, whispers become murmurs of shock. Has Kody finally gotten the comeuppance he has so long evaded? The lighting in the courtroom seems bleaker now, casting long shadows on the shiny wood floors. The atmosphere is thicker than ever before, heavy with expectation, hushed questions, and the sharp, bitter smell of tension. Kody Brown sits stiffly, hands clasped together as if holding himself upright from the burden of the allegations. His wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, are not observers anymore. They are warriors of their own reality, prepared to confront years of deceptions and betrayal directly. Robyn leans forward, her voice quavering with intensity, sharing details that no one beyond the family would ever dare believe. She talks of secret accounts, unauthorized wire transfers, and secret investments Kody made secretly, each new piece striking like a thunderclap across the silent courtroom. Christine's keen eyes never lose sight of him, her lips pursed into a thin line of rebellion, as Janelle holds back tears, white-knuckling her notes. Meri is silent but powerful, gazing at the ground, her jaw clenched, struggling silently to muster up enough courage to release her testimony. The prosecution moves deliberately, one step at a time, creating tension with each fresh revelation. Mr. Brown, the lawyer speaks, voice even, slicing through the tension. Your wives gave you their trust, their life savings, their hopes. And yet we find over $12 million taken without authorization. A cry of shock rises from the gallery. Kody swallows hard, attempting to keep a grip, but the sweat beading on his forehead reveals his panic. The Brown secrets that Kody attempted to cover are now out in the open, and what comes next will leave even die-hard Browns fans in shock. A witness, a financial analyst, steps forward, projecting charts and screenshots of transactions onto the large courtroom screen. The numbers tell a story of deception, careful planning, and betrayal. Christine's eyes widen, as the evidence confirms what she had feared for years. I knew something didn't add up, she whispers under her breath. But 12 million? Janelle's hand reaches for Meri's, an unspoken pact of solidarity forming in that tiny gesture. Kody slowly gets up, strained voice. There's more to it than it appears. He starts stumbling over legalese that makes the room even tenser. His wives look at each other, saying 1,000 words, decades worth of trust disintegrating in an instant. Robyn's shout rings out amidst the whispers. No more lies, Kody. We have the right to know now. The courtroom returns to silence once more, all eyes upon him, all hearts beating loud. The judge leans forward, his eyes narrowing, his voice steady but icy. Mr. Brown, do you comprehend fully the seriousness of these charges? Kody pauses, and for an instant the man who once seemed invulnerable appears small, trapped, vulnerable. As the afternoon progresses, the story deepens. The family's finances are laid bare. Emails and secret memos read aloud, each revelation more damning than the last. Meri's face turns pale as the details hit home. Janelle fights to control her tears. Christine sits upright, unwavering, and Robyn's hands shake, her entire body vibrating with anger and hurt. The tension is so thick it feels as though the walls themselves are closing in. Hold on tight. What's about to unfold will leave you questioning every move Kody ever made. You can't afford to look away. The session is concluded with a dramatic moment of silence. The judge orders an adjournment, and the camera would stay on Kody's face, a combination of fear, guilt, and desperation. His wives exit in silence, faces inscrutable but full of emotion. Down the hall, murmurs of incredulity are heard. Could a patriarch betray his own family so completely? And more importantly, what awaits when the courtroom resumes? Kody takes a step back, massaging his forehead, and grumbles to himself, "This isn't over, I can make this better." But nobody believes him, not even the watching jury, not even his wives. The next session holds promises of truths that will change the Brown family forever. The courtroom resumes after the tense recess, and there is an almost charged silence that greets all. Kody Brown enters, shoulders modestly hunched over, but his eyes are keenly observant, scanning the face of every person in the room. The judge, tall and unyielding, gestures for all to be seated. There is a sense of suffocation in the room now, each pulse loud, each sound of moving paper thundering. This is no longer merely a court. It's a battleground where years of trust, secrets, and family allegiance will be tried open for the public eye. Christine starts. She stands up slowly, clutching a fat folder of papers like a shield, speaking calmly but lashing out. "Your Honor," she says, "what we're witnessing isn't simply mismanagement, it's outright betrayal. The facts presented to this court demonstrate that Kody Brown made economic maneuvers to steal millions from us, his wives, without permission." Her eyes fix on Kody, who squirms uncomfortably, sweat running down his temple. The sentence lingers, weighty and incriminating. Robyn advances next. Her voice shakes, but her eyes flash with ferocity. Unyielding. "I believed in you," she states, her voice acid with rage. I took your cue for years, trusting the family you promised to keep safe. But these papers, she holds them aloft, quivering with tears. They reveal the truth you attempted to conceal. A murmur rises in the courtroom. Kody's mouth opens as if to counter, but the words catch, stifled by the force of accusation and irrefutable evidence. All the secrets Kody sought to hide are now being uncovered. And what comes next may alter the Browns' lives forever. Don't look away. You won't want to miss a minute of it. The prosecution brings in a financial auditor, a middle-aged woman, with an imposing presence as a witness. She recites in excruciating detail the transfers, shell companies, and off-the-book accounts Kody supposedly used. This wasn't an error, she states forcefully, scrolling through spreadsheets on the screen. It was intentional. All of these transactions lead back to Mr. Brown's desire to hide. Christine hunches forward, eyes narrowing as she tracks each line of figures. Robyn's hands are white-knuckled around the edge of the table. Janelle exhales sharply, barely keeping her composure, while Meri's eyes water, a mix of shock, betrayal, and heartbreak washing over her face. Kody at last stands up to defend himself, his voice strained, trying to explain the untraceable transfers. These were business decisions, he maintains. I never meant to hurt anyone. His words ring hollow in the room. His wife's responses are naked. Christine's jaw clenches. Robyn shakes her head incredulously, and Meri spins away, her hands shaking. Even the viewers experience the tension. Kody's formerly commanding presence now looks vulnerable, cornered by the inescapable facts. The emotional tension builds when a former family aide is summoned to testify. Michaela describes being bullied into signing papers she hardly even comprehended. Papers that directed money secretly. Her voice trembles with guilt and fear as she speaks of Kody's demands, leaving the jury and courthouse audience in shock. Janelle buries her face in her hands. Meri's lips quiver, and Robyn grips the table, as though holding herself together by sheer force of will. The room seems to vibrate with every revelation. What Kody did behind closed doors will shock you, and the next revelation could leave everyone in the courtroom in tears. By late afternoon, everyone is in a tense to intolerable mood. The judge calls for an adjournment, but not before Christine's voice thunders in the air one last time. We trusted him with our lives, and he betrayed us in every way imaginable. The camera would focus on Kody's face, clenched, white, eyes furtively shifting between his wives, the jury and the judge. It's plain that the fissures in his pretense are no longer repairable. As the courtroom clears for recess, whispers go around like wildfire. How did Kody betray the very women who constructed his life with him? And more chillingly, what's next in the next session, when the evidence becomes even more intimate and devastating? Kody wanders out into the hallway, grumbling to himself, his triumphant facade broken. One of his wives catches his eye and asks quietly but sternly, "How do you look at us after this?" Kody is silent. The next episode threatens the most emotional and explosive disclosures yet, ones that could irreparably alter the Brown family.